My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Let's talk about UFC Vegas 64. It was a random fight night. Didn't seem like an amazing card on paper, and it ended up being a ton of fun with a ton of controversy. Before I talk about the controversy, let's talk about our success. We killed it last night. Jacob and I both made a bunch of money. We're both up units with our straight bets, premium member bets, and all of that. If you don't know, Jacob goes live almost every single Saturday for a fight companion, and he places bets on every single fight for you, for entertainment, while he watches them, and he is up 20 plus units from last night's live stream. The prize picks killed, underdog fantasy killed, knockout kings filled, the premium member only parlay, the 2-leg, the 3-leg, and the 4-leg all hit. Last night was a resounding success. But let's talk about the controversy. So here's the controversy. Darrick Minner's knee blew out almost immediately. It's very TJ Dillashaw-esque vibes. He obviously had a knee injury, came into the fight anyway. And listen, this guy is not making millions of dollars. It's not a title fight. I get it, right? This is what happens is if you get injured in a fight, the UFC's insurance is who pays for it. If you get injured in training camp, you have to pay for it. So I'm sure he was injured in training camp, kept his mouth shut, hoping to get through the fight, then win or lose, you file an insurance claim. I've managed fighters for years. That's how it's worked for years. I know many, many people that hid injuries, and then after the fight, we're like, oh, here's a list of every injury I've ever had so you can fix it on your dollar. So we know Darrick Minner had a knee injury. It blew out almost immediately. He was stopped. I'm good with that. We had money on Shailon Nerdenbeek. But here's the controversy. This is the line movement. Right before the fight, Darrick Minner became a massive underdog. Shailon Nerdenbeek became a massive favorite. So somebody, look at the line movement from when it was dropped all the way to right before the fight. It skyrocketed. It more than doubled, meaning somebody leaked that he had a knee injury and all the money came flooding in, knowing full well Darrick Minner had a knee injury, knowing full well that he was going to lose that fight and likely by stoppage. This is unusual line movement. This is suspicious line movement. You will never, ever see line movement like this outside of when they're initially dropped. Sometimes the books will get it wrong and then it'll fly. Or after weigh-ins. Something crazy happens at weigh-ins and then you'll see the line fly. You never see this on fight night, no less. A couple hours before the fight, you never see this. This is ridiculously suspicious. He definitely had a knee injury. He kept it a secret. Somebody is the snitch. Somebody snitched. I got a couple theories, but somebody snitched. Hey, Darrick Minner's knee is a mess. It could very well be a commissioner because somebody from his team, I feel like if they were going to snitch, they would have done it earlier. The only people that really would have known that night and seen it then are maybe a commissioner, right? If you don't know the commissioners for the Nevada Athletic State, they're in the locker room, they're sitting there, they're literally just watching you silently to make sure you're not shoving glass in your gloves, putting Vaseline anywhere, doing sketchy stuff. So that is a possibility, and this is just total speculation, but it's bizarre because if somebody from his team was going to leak it, they would have leaked it earlier. And here's the official UFC policy, right? If you remember, they just implemented this policy on gambling just a few weeks ago. I've highlighted the part that talks about it's not just the fighters that can't gamble, it's their immediate family members and their coaches and training partners as well. You cannot bet on these fights if you have inside information. Think of stocks, right? Martha Stewart went to jail for insider information. This is a policy. This is not illegal, but it's a similar concept here. Hey, if you're the fighter or very close to that fighter, you can't be betting on these fights because you may know something we don't. For example, a knee injury. And that raises the question. A lot of people are speculating that, James Krauss. James Krauss has a YouTube channel where he's giving out betting advice, and James Krauss is Darrick Minner's coach. Listen, that's a ridiculous theory because first of all, he's not going to publicly say, bet against my guy, right? He would lose every single fighter he has as a coach. So that would never happen. And two, if he was holding this knee information in to bet on it, the smart move would be to tell nobody, you know your guy's injured, you know your guy's not 100%, and he could just bet 10 mortgages on the other side, but not tell anybody. He gets nothing from telling anybody. So Anybody saying that James Krauss had something to do with this isn't fully thinking that all the way through, because it would make no sense for him to put that information out to the world. Keeping it to himself, he could get rich. He can't publicly bet against his fighter, so this is a guy giving out sports betting advice. He can't say, my guy's going to lose, because then he'll lose all of his fighters. So either way, I think this is incredibly interesting. I am curious to see if anything comes of this. If there's some sort of, I don't want to say investigation, but if there's a double look, a double take, somebody looks a little closer, where did these bets come from? Who moved that line, right? Because if you back through the bets, you can see, where did these initial bets immediately start coming in right before the fight? Was it a ton of money from one person? If so, who? And what prompted them to do that? So this is very interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think about this and who you think might be the snitch, because somebody snitched. Either an insider let it slip by accident or purposely snitched, or like I said, somebody that just noticed in the locker room, or somebody else. It could have been another fighter. These fighters share locker rooms. So you know, Darrick Minner sharing a locker room with other UFC fighters on the card that he has no relationship with. Could have been them. They could have texted somebody, hey man, his knee's a mess, do this. Really interesting, super, super sketchy, and especially right after this new UFC gambling policy, and right after TJ Dillashaw did the same thing. We skewered TJ Dillashaw, but he was a co-main event for a title. This was, you know, a featured fight on a fight night. Let's talk about some of the other fights. First of all, Pollyanna Vienna. Look who found her power. She was like jiu-jitsu or bust her entire career. Now all of a sudden she has incredible striking, great timing, got the finish. I thought Jin Yu Frey was going to pull this out, but this was not an underdog card. Only one underdog in 11 fights won, and that was the main event. And that was, you know, that was the least shocking of all the underdogs. So congratulations to Pollyanna Vienna, and I'm happy to see it, because Jin Yu Frey was just going to be a gatekeeper forever, right? She'll never beat the top tier. She will beat up the lower tier. So it is nice to see somebody like Pollyanna just jump right up. Whoa, she added hands to her arsenal. The Darrick Rodriguez-Neil Magny fight, oh my God, or Daniel Rodriguez-Neil Magny fight. This was incredible. I had picked Neil Magny similar to, you know, for the same reasons that it went down. I thought Neil Magny was just going to be more durable, have better cardio, and just ride this out. I did not expect Daniel Rodriguez to just come forward the way he did. He came forward. He was throwing for the fences. He was going to win this fight. He was like 2 minutes away from winning this fight, especially he was on top in the third round, on top, clearly his round, clearly going to win this fight in the decision. And then he lets Neil Magny up, and Neil Magny gets up, and then he gets taken down, submitted. That was just unfortunate, poor decision-making from everybody. I mean, what a mess that was. Great for Neil Magny. He set a record, right? Most wins in welterweight history. He's, you know, good for Neil Magny. The dude trains his ass off, does what he needs to do. I feel bad for Daniel Rodriguez, because that was there for him to win. And these are sort of fight IQ moments. And what they kept harping on coming into this fight was that Neil Magny's been fighting for like 20 years. Daniel Rodriguez didn't start fighting till 10 years ago. 10 years ago was the very first time he ever stepped into a gym and said, hey, I should try this. Which is incredible. The fact that he's ranked in the UFC in one of the tougher divisions, and he's only been doing this for 10 years, that's incredibly impressive. It's unfortunate for Daniel Rodriguez that that's how that went down, but I don't think there's anything to take away from that other than Daniel's super, super tough and just an unfortunate turn of events there. But that dude, I'm not losing any respect for him, and if anything, I'll pick him again, because if you remember, this was sort of a short notice fight, and he had a staph infection that didn't look to affect him. He came out here, threw heavy, tried to get that win. And then the main event, the controversy here is, was it an early stoppage? Listen, I don't think it was an early stoppage. I think it was totally fine to stop that fight. But what I do hate is when they don't really let these go in main events. It's a 5-round main event. The winner of this fight is likely going to get a title shot. Let it go a little longer. Just a little longer to see what happens. It was essentially 1-1. Maureen Rodriguez won the first round on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards, so that's her round. Amanda Lemos won the second round on all the judges' scorecards, so that's her round. We're going into the third. It's essentially a tied fight. And you know, Amanda did what she was supposed to do, but You just want to be 100% certain. You hate if there's any questions at all, especially in a title fight or a title eliminator like this was. So overall, great fight night. And I could argue that this was a better card, at least entertainment-wise, than UFC 280 was. So let me know in the comments what you thought about the main event and what you thought about the betting controversy with the Darrick Minner knee situation. And guys, don't forget, become a premium member. We started this off with a slide about how incredibly well we did. First of all, almost all of those bets were for premium members only. All of Jacob's were, and the premium member parlay were. Those all hit. That made incredible money. Premium membership's only $10 a month. So anybody who followed any of that paid for many, many months, if not years worth of premium membership. And two, even the public bets that we gave out, the line movement was incredible. Mario Batista went from minus 270 to like minus 370. That gap in the line movement alone pays for premium membership. It's only $10 a month. We have UFC 281 bets up now. WeOwnPicks.com. Click Become a Member. And as always, if you want that $50 for free, we give anybody $50. And all you need to do is go to WeOwnPicks.com/bets, sign up with any one of our betting partners, make a deposit, and then we send you $50 as a thank you. That's WeOwnPicks.com/bets. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and we'll see you this entire week with new content every single day.